Hey folks, it's Mike with thecolormud.com. I'm back with another video in our series on building a giant dragon head. This is on behalf of the Dragon Research Collaborative, and it'll be in an exhibit in Martinsville, Virginia, a little later this fall in October. So today the goal is to weld up the horn segment. So this is a scale model of the frame I've been working on for the head part of the build. And these horn segments, just to give you a close-up here, that go into the head, and these mounting points here need to be welded up. So the horns primarily will be built out of this 1/4-inch round stock, and I'm going to weld two sets of these together to make the horns, and then these will be attached to a about a 4-inch carriage bolt, nice heavy duty, and then we can bolt this into the frame. So there's a mounting point that's got a hole drilled through it, same material here as this flat stock, and this will bolt down to it. So I'm going to weld this onto one of these nuts as well, so it's really firmly attached here. The rest of this video, I've got a couple other things to finish up. I've got a power supply box. The power supply is to light the eyes, and we've already done a video on how we're going to light the eyes, but I need to mount the power supply and the regulator that regulates the voltage to inside a box to protect it, and that goes inside the dragon head. So I've got that printed out, but I've still got to finish mounting it. So that'll be part of this video, and then it's on to my wife that's going to be doing all the sculpting and things like that. So look for those videos after this one, and we'll be moving on further into the project. So stay tuned, and we'll get this stuff welded together. Hey folks, we're back in the shop. I'm going to be working on putting together the power supply, the box that holds it basically. I've got a 12 volt 10 amp power supply. It's a little overkill for this project, but it's better to be more amperage than less, so it doesn't overheat at all. This is a regulator that I'm going to wire in with it, and this will control the output voltage to the eyes, the LED strip in the eyes. We're probably going to be shooting for 9 to 10 volts. This is 12 volt out, so I need to clock it down a little bit, and that will keep the LEDs from overheating, getting too hot while they're all encased in the head of the dragon. It also lets me dim them down pretty low, lower than that if we need to, depending on the room that we put it in. This will be a plug. This plug I hacked out of an old power supply that I had laying around, and I even cut out some of the metal that was around it so I could more easily mount it into the plastic box. And then I'll have a switch with it too, so it'll be easy to mount this inside the head later, and then just plug in a regular computer power supply cord into it to power everything. So we'll get going and putting this all together. Okay, we're going to start by mounting this regulator, and this box is big enough that I should be able to mount it on top of the power supply here and make it accessible so it could be, the voltage can be adjusted on here, which is done by this little screw right here, just to show you. That little screw there, you turn it and you'll see the voltage change here when it's plugged in. Okay, we've got this mounted up, just to give you sort of a profile shot of it. Nice and secure on there. Okay, we've got the power connector and the switch installed. I haven't wired them quite yet, but they look like they're not going anywhere. Okay. So next I want to wire up the power supply here, something like this, and then we'll drop it in. Okay, we've got one line here on the, this is the hot side, neutral, hot, and then we're going into the switch on that side, and then I've got to just crimp on some connectors here, so we've got our neutral and our hot and our ground. I'm going to change the connector on here. Okay, now these go, if you look at the back of this power supply, there's an L, N, and a ground. So the line and what I call hot go there, neutral, and ground. So those are pretty straightforward. Okay, next we've on this regulator here, there's two connectors. I don't know if you can see them from there, for in and then two for out. So we've got our out on the power supply. I've marked it here above, so we've got a post here for negative and a post for positive. That's the 12 volt coming out. Bring that up to here with this little piece of wire. I think it'll, and then we can come out of here, or I'm sorry, bring the wires from the LEDs or the eyes that I already have wired up and in the Dragon head at this point. And then we should be able to drop this down in here. It's a little bit of a tight fit. I'm hoping, yeah. Looks like we've got clearance there. Okay, there we go. Quick look. All wired up. Looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and test it. See that there, but the display's lit up, showing about 10 volts right now. So that's a good sign. And I'm just gonna check the output from the regulator. Let's see if we can set this up so you guys can see it. Yep, and we're right at 10 volts. I think we are good to go here. This cover goes on like this. Now, in order to adjust the regulator, I'll have to take the cover off, but that's no big deal, really. It's just four screws in the corners here. I think that'll work out pretty well. We've got a little bit of tie-up work to do with the wiring in there, and then what we're going to do is mount this inside the head, but towards the opening to the back of the head where it connects to the neck. And that way you can get the power plug in there pretty easily and things like that. Hey folks, we're back in the shop here about building a stand for the dragon as part of this video, but things changed a little bit and I'm not going to show you that right now. We do have it recorded and it's already been built at this point, but it's in the progression of this project. It's a bit later now, so we didn't want to spoil, sort of give you too much of a sneak peek on the dragon that's later than in this series of videos. So basically, that's going to be a little later. And we've got a cover over here for a reason. But I'm going to pass it over to my wife because she's now going to be in pretty much all the rest of the videos. You'll see me a little bit here and there working on some stuff with her. But it's primarily going to be her from now on in this series if you're watching it in order. So, Jennifer?
So... we have this covered up because David has not seen this on the wall yet. He has seen it like on the table with no scales. He's seen it without any of the other stuff that we've put on it. I won't give too much away.
And who's David?
Oh, David Hesser from David Hesser Art, who did this lovely wall mural, which you can't see much of it right now. But we will have like pictures of him putting it up and some different stuff. Unfortunately, I did not do video that day that him and his son were here. But so when he sees it for the first time, we're going to set up the big camera so Mike can show you the view right now from the bigger camera up on the thing from this one. And we're going to get his reaction to what he thinks about it when he sees it. So we covered it up now in this picture so we don't show you, and then we're going to reveal it to David. But in the video sequences, you guys will have already seen most of the dragon building by the time that David actually gets here, because I'm actually going to prime it and everything, and it'll be black when he comes over. But the next video should be muscle structure. Is that what you're doing next?
I think you're making the teeth and the jaws.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So it's weird because the timeline, while he was doing the skeletal work, I was actually working on the teeth. But, we had to wait to fit them on there and that kind of thing. So we're trying to show the videos like in a progression so you can see it being built instead of like going back and forth like what we have actually done over the last few months. Right.
Basically, I took too long.
Well, he does have a full-time job, so we'll forgive him.
Yeah.
And I don't, so I was like, come on, I know. I need to work on this hello, I need to work on this dragon. You can cut that out later.
So much editing. Anyways.
So, am I supposed to say anything?
You gotta close it out.
Oh, how do I close it out? What?
You need to know how to do this. No.
So I gotta say this in this video, and hopefully he edits some of this in to get this point across. But Mike's videos are very neat and clean, and he's describing a bunch of stuff to you, and he's trying to get me to do voiceovers to kind of fill in where I have it. But basically, I am hey, this is what I'm doing today, and then I let you watch me. There's not a lot of discussion. I'm sorry, I have to listen to music when I work. So
I'll find out.
So what's the closeout?
The closeout?
I'm Jay Leigh with The Color of Mud.
Oh, that's your introduction. Closeout is check the video description for links to the previous videos if you haven't seen them all. Check out her introduction video if you haven't watched any of the other videos or you don't know what you're watching too much about. It talks all about the project. Check out our website for additional pictures and some of our concept design and artwork and all that.
Well, and DB's paper.
DB
Poley,
Dr.
DB Poley, and Lisa Stoneman, who started all this with their paper, The Origins of Dragons. And there's a bunch of it's the origins of dragons, semicolon, all kinds of words here, but we're just going to call it The Origins of Dragons.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So anyways, that's the closeout.
Right.
thecolormud.com. And stay tuned, please subscribe, and there'll be lots more videos coming out with her in them. See you guys.
Bye.